Hey, what's going on with you guys today?
Just up early talking about summer movies. There's nothing better.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, to me, this is like opening day of the NBA or Major League Baseball. I mean, I realize the season has already been going with the Fall Guy, and what a great appearance that was. But man, we're about ready to head into the summer of 2024.
Oh yeah, there are big movies every weekend. So if you are hot, if you need to just take a couple hours out of your day, enjoy that air conditioning, get the giant foot bath sized soda, sit and watch the movies unfold. This is the time of the year to do it.
The goal is to get people back into those theaters. I realize, we're kind of crowding things up a bit on Tuesdays where most theaters are doing $5 nights. But the thing is, though, is that they're not coming in the droves that they used to.
Yes. I mean, there have been exceptions. Obviously, Barbenheimer last year was such a phenomenal success, and it was so fun to see, because I'm in the movie theaters all the time, either going for myself or going for work. And it was just so fun to see so many people there. They were dressed up. It was such an event. And yeah, but there's not a lot of that anymore. But they're certainly going to try this summer. There's some biggies out there that they're hoping will rope people back in a big way.
The further that we get away from Oppenheimer and Barbie, the better I like that, because we don't have to sit there and hope that our favorite movie is going to make $1 billion. That was a fluke, and it could take a long time before we get back up to something like that again.
Yes, and it's frustrating because there's some filmmakers who have talked to me and said, I don't want to have to make an event. I just want to make a really good movie. But now you have to make an event. But there are certainly, movies this summer that are going to bring people in. And, that Barbenheimer dynamic, I think, is playing out a little bit next weekend when we have Furiosa, which is the latest movie in the Mad Max franchise going up against the Garfield movie.
Yeah.
So two very different audiences, two very different crowds. But I think it's going to be a really good Memorial Day weekend for everybody.
And Mad Max fans who grew up with the movie, because I was a teen and I was at an outdoor drive-in when I saw Mad Max for the first time, they're going to love this movie. I've already experienced it. It is unbelievable. I mean, it affects every bit of your emotions inside that body.
Oh yeah. I think I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think this one I liked more even than Fury Road. It's a little bit stranger. It's a very different kind of tempo. There's sort of, you've seen it. There's chapters, it's like, but you go on this journey with this character, and it is as you said, your molecules will be shaken up by what you see and experience in this movie. But it is just so beautiful and so moving and so exciting. It's just, I loved it to death. I'm glad you did too.
Do you think this is going to be the movie where everybody, because Chris right now is typecast, and we need to get Chris away from that typecast. And I think with his accent and with his presence in this movie, maybe this is the movie that's going to break him out.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Chris Hemsworth, who we've known as Thor for so many years, and he clearly can do so much more, even in, the recent, not the most recent Ghostbusters movies, but in the 2016 Ghostbuster movie, he's so funny and so charming. And in this, you're right, we see a completely different side of him. I mean, he is diabolical, he is menacing, but he also has this kind of goofy energy that kind of makes him more sinister, because you have no idea what he's going to do and how he's going to respond to certain situations. But yeah, it is a brilliant performance, and he's so unrecognized. He's got a fake nose. I mean, he goes all in on this one, for sure.
How is Hollywood focusing in on we who love to binge watch? Because we'll sit there and we'll spend 6 hours a day watching one particular episode or their journey. But yet when we go to a movie, it's like we want it done and over with as quickly as possible.
Well, it's really interesting that you bring that up, because this weekend there's a movie called The Strangers Chapter 1. It's a remake of a horror movie from a few years ago, and it's the first movie in a trilogy of movies that are going to be released sort of every few months throughout the year. So it's kind of an interesting hybridization of the streaming model with the theatrical experience. The other one that I've got to point to is Horizon: An American Saga, which is the new Kevin Costner Western epic. There are two coming out this summer. The first one is actually premiering at Cannes this week, and then there'll be another one just a couple of months later. He wants to make 4 of these. I mean, it's really an interesting gamble, because it is a long Western aimed at adults. We'll see how that goes. But like you said, it's kind of that mixture of the binge model with the traditional theatrical model. And I think you're going to be seeing more of those kind of experiments in the years ahead.
Something else that's coming out this weekend is If. I mean, we all have imaginary friends, but is it going to be saved by the kids? Are the kids going to buy into it?
I don't know. I was not huge into this movie, but it's clearly an attempt to do kind of a live action Pixar movie.
Yeah.
Which John Krasinski has said numerous times. Michael Giacchino, who scored Up and Inside Out, did the music for it. It's a very clearly aimed at that demographic. And I don't know if kids are going to buy it, but it's certainly, big, colorful, all ages movie that'll be in theaters this week. It's in theaters today. So if you want to see it, it's there for you.
The first time since 2006, no Marvel movies. And I'm the one that's saying, thank God.
You're over it. You're done. You're done with the Marvel movies.
Done.
Okay. Well, I hate to tell you this. There's one Marvel movie, but I think you might be into it. It is Deadpool and Wolverine, which is coming out in July.
Yep.
And that could be the biggest movie of the summer, even though it's sort of handicapped by the fact that it's an R-rated movie. So obviously the people who enjoyed If are not going to be going to it. But yeah, it's going to be big. It's, it's the amount of cameos, I'm sure, are just going to be head spinning. But obviously having Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman back playing their iconic Marvel characters, it's going to be big.
But the one thing about Ryan Reynolds, first of all, I love Ryan Reynolds, but Ryan Reynolds has been doing Ryan Reynolds all the way back to when I first saw him on a sitcom every week. It's like, Ryan, play a different character. I want to see something new in you.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that he is so good and he's so capable of dramas. A movie that you should seek out on streaming or on digital or wherever it is a movie called Mississippi Grind, which came out from A24, which is the big, independent producer of movies here. It's so good. It's kind of a throwback to The Hustler or something like that, and he is just dynamite. So I think he's making a lot of money. I think he's doing what he does best. But yeah, you're right. He could deviate a little bit and still have the same success for sure. Well,
everybody's starting to talk about Despicable Me. We love our Minions, and we just love that whole entire franchise.
Yeah, that is another one that I think could be one of the bigger movies of the year. This is the fourth kind of mainline Despicable Me movie. The first one in a while. We've obviously had the Minions movies also, but yeah, this is one of the most important franchises for Universal. There's theme park attractions. There's obviously endless merchandise. I'm seeing a lot of tie-in commercials for things like Volkswagen and, all these kind of things. So that's going to be huge. But, there's a lot of really big animated movies coming out this summer as well. You've got Inside Out 2 coming out. And then there's also things on streaming. There's a movie today that hit Netflix called Thelma the Unicorn that's really charming and fun. And then Ultraman Rising in June, which is kind of a update of the classic character from the 1960s, the tokusatsu character of Ultraman. Even if you've never seen Ultraman, you probably know Ultraman. So he's coming back as well. So yeah, animation is very, very big this summer.
I love the way that Inside Out did some superb marketing, just like Avatar did. They allowed you to see 30 minutes of the preview. That's it. And then that's it. That's all we need to start, getting those influencers to start talking about it.
Oh, yeah. I saw that 30 minutes. It's the first 30 minutes. They showed it up at Pixar, and then they showed it again at CinemaCon, which is kind of a national exhibition for theater owners and guys that sell popcorn and all of those wonderful people. So, they're very bullish on this one. Pixar has been in a little bit of a lull over the past couple of years. They had 3 movies that went directly to Disney Plus during the pandemic, and then they had things like Lightyear, which didn't quite work as well as they wanted it to. It says nothing about the quality of the movies, all great movies, but they really need a big blockbuster, and I think they're going to get it with Inside Out too. It's all the same. Riley is now a teenage girl, so there's even more emotions, and you're going to be feeling those emotions as well. So it's going to be a big one.
I'm going to show my age again. I was there for the very first Planet of the Apes, and where I believe those monkeys were real, even back there in those early days. I've seen and experienced this one too. I loved this one because it felt like the originals.
Yes. I mean, these movies are great. They've always been great. Even in the 60s and 70s when they were a little bit iffier. But yeah, this one is wonderful. It's called Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's in theaters now. And, if you've seen the kind of most recent trilogy, it's back in that world, but it's a little bit further in the future. The apes have evolved into a new society. I loved it too. I thought it was really moving, and it's obviously very beautifully done. The visual effects are unbelievable. It's just it's a good time at the theater.
The articles are starting to come out about Bad Boys. I mean, this is it for Will Smith, man. I mean, he's got to make it this time around in this movie.
Yeah, this is a big movie for him. And actually, it's a good movie. I am proud to report.
Nice.
It is very fun. It's very much in keeping with the Bad Boys franchise. And, it's more of what we love about it. Him and Martin Lawrence are really great. There's some fun new characters. There's a nice mystery to it. And the action really rules. And, it's one of two big sequels from Jerry Bruckheimer this summer, because we also have in July Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which is so much fun. It's so good. And so, yeah, he's bringing back, he's playing the hits this summer, but they're good, which is nice.
Am I the only one that's still freaked out about A Quiet Place? I mean, that first movie is still very much alive inside of me. And now we have this one.
Yes. So I think you're going to enjoy this one because it's got a really interesting hook, which is A Quiet Place Day One. So it is the, first day of the invasion of the aliens. And the fun part about it is that it takes place in New York City. So it's sort of the hypothesis is, what if these monsters that come to Earth and are affected by sound come to the noisiest town, the noisiest city in the world? So how is that going to play out? So it's got a great cast, led by Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, who we all love from Stranger Things. I'm excited. I love this world too, right? Like, it's such a fun kind of universe to play in, and it's fun that it's going to kind of open up a little bit with this new one.
Speaking of Stranger Things, what's the riff on this thing? Why do they keep saying it's coming, but it's not coming? It's coming. Oh, we canceled it. What's going on with Stranger Things?
They are filming right now, so don't worry. It is coming. It's too important to Netflix. The question is, when is it coming?
Yeah.
I have another question of what is it going to look like, because, as kids age, they seemingly jump in age every kind of few years. So are these kids all going to be, husky voiced 35-year-olds by the time this thing comes out? But no, it's very important to Netflix. This is the final season. Everybody's coming back. It's going to be so much fun, but who knows when? That's the question. When will we get more Stranger Things? Because you're right, it's come out sort of, season 3 was really fun because it was in the summer. And it's a summer without Stranger Things is kind of a bummer.
Is it true that Cobra Kai is making its way to the big screen?
Well, there's a new Karate Kid movie coming out.
Okay.
But they have said that it does not involve the kind of lore of Cobra Kai. But Cobra Kai is coming back as well for a final season. I think it's broken up into 2 parts. So that'll be coming back, and then we'll have a Karate Kid movie next summer, 2025. So I'll have to come back and talk about the new Karate Kid.
Don't you love the way that faith-based movies are evolving into something that doesn't, that everybody can accept? It's not so bam, 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 bam. There really is true stories there and emotion.
Yeah. I mean, there's like earlier this year, we had a movie called Ordinary Angels that is technically faith-based, but starred Hilary Swank, who has won 2 Oscars, and Alan Ritchson, who we all love on Jack Reacher on Prime Video. And I think, it was a modest hit. It wasn't like one of these runaway successes, but you're right. It showed that the faith-based movies are not purely, playing to the super fanatical, that everybody can go see it, get something out of it, learn a lesson, have kind of a moral, quandary in the middle of it, and come away happy. So that, you're right, is that, I think we're going to see that trend kind of continue.
Yeah. I'm blessed with the opportunity to talk with a lot of rock stars, and one of the things that we talk about is the fact that they need to sell that merchandise because that's how they're making their money. The same is true about Regal and AMC. There's a lot of merchandise in these theaters, and people are buying it.
Yes. I think it's fun, though. It's too. Really, I mean, obviously we saw the phenomenon of the Dune popcorn bucket, which was so bizarre and obscene earlier this year.
That was taken off the market so quickly, though, after Saturday Night Live played with it.
I mean, that was a blockbuster in and of itself. And Ryan Reynolds is obviously teasing some kind of very funny Deadpool popcorn bucket to accompany that. But yeah, you're right. And you're also seeing theater chains like AMC and Regal creating exclusive, merchandise that you can only get either from the theater or from their websites. So yeah, it's becoming an increasingly popular and lucrative part of the business. I was in line for AMC, a couple weeks ago, and there were Godzilla, Kong, action figures there, stuff like that, which is fun. I mean, if I was going to the movies, in 1993, and there was a Jurassic Park dinosaur sitting next to the popcorn as I was going in to watch Jurassic Park, I would have lost my mind. Are you kidding me? That would have been amazing.
I was in the theater when Venom first went into the theaters, and the thing is that a lot of them were shaking their head like, no. So why are we getting another Venom this fall?
We are getting another Venom this fall because these movies make money. I think, especially in a culture where everything sort of becomes a meme and everything is sort of discussed online.
That's true.
These movies are discussed endlessly. I mean, the last movie is called Venom: The Last Dance. This is supposed to be a scary character who, menaces Spider-Man at every chance he gets, and it's called Venom: The Last Dance. I mean, that's pretty fun. And I think Tom Hardy just has a lot of fun with the role, the dual roles, I should say, of Venom and Eddie Brock. So, yeah, we're getting another one. And then this is the last one for a while, at least. So we'll all go, we'll enjoy it, we'll have a laugh, and we'll move on with our lives, hopefully, after that.
One of the evolutions of the movie business is the fact that what you do, we've always loved critiquing it. You're a movie reviewer. But these influencers, do you sit back and wonder, what do you know about movies that we're investing so much into them, and you guys are being set aside in a way?
Yeah, I was at a screening recently that was very influencer heavy, and I was kind of shaking my head. But here's the thing. They get the word out. They're a completely new kind of avenue for marketing and for discussion of film. And, it's not a great time for the movies. They need every kind of, they need to pull every lever, as they say. And this is another lever that they can pull, relying on influencers to talk about the movies, making TikToks with clips. You're going to see all of that stuff all the time. And I don't know if it's working or not, although there was a recent movie that came out a couple of weeks ago that's called Tarot. It's a little horror movie from Sony.
Yeah.
They did all their marketing digitally. So there was no print ads. There were no TV spots during the, NBA finals. I mean, it was all digital, and it made money. So something is working in that space for sure.
Wow. All right, final question. If this were the WWE, who would win, Joker or Wicked?
Oh, man. Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it'll be Joker versus Wicked. I wonder if it's going to be Moana versus Wicked.
There you go.
Yeah. So that we're going into the Christmas movie holiday kind of corridor. But yeah, Wicked is Universal's big movie this year, and they are even, they're already talking about what the awards campaign is going to be like for this movie. So they are very bullish on this thing. But you're right. The first Joker made over $1 billion. This new one is coming out and co-stars Lady Gaga, so that's going to be huge. And then Moana 2. Yeah. Moana 2. I mean, Moana was the biggest streaming movie last year, and it came out in 2016.
Wow.
So this is going to be a juggernaut. And just think about the popcorn buckets for Moana, just a giant, The Rock's animated face or something, and with this popcorn bucket. The possibilities are endless.
Drew, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you, dude.
Oh, love it. I'll be back.
Well, you be brilliant, okay?
I will. You too.